Welcome back to Reap the Gems podcast.
As you can see, the background, we in a different establishment. We at a park, man. You know, we still under construction.
Yeah.
But we just gonna get down to business.
So, you know, with you guys being fathers and being parents, I wanted to know, like, what are 3 values that you guys are instilling into your kids?
Are you asking us this in terms of like what you think every parent should be instilling that into their kids, or just personally?
I'm asking you guys personally.
Okay.
Personally.
What you got? What you
Man,
got, boy?
hey man, to be honest, man, I got a little boy, you know what I'm saying? He's very stubborn, very hard-headed, but he's a good kid overall, but he just has a hard time listening. So I guess I could say what I've been trying to instill in him lately is just, you know, stay disciplined, you know, some core values. I would want to say a little bit patience.
So patience.
A little bit patience, you know.
Discipline, patience.
And that third one, because I don't want to lie. I want to tell y'all what I really be telling them.
That's what we do.
And just paying attention to your surroundings, I guess I could say.
Okay.
You know, and that's personally what I,
And paying attention to
right, because all kids are different. What worked for my kid might be something totally different.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 that I've been trying to instill in my boy lately.
I like that. Me personally, I always want to stress this too, because I feel like every child is unique.
Okay.
So with that being said, I feel like being yourself, like I feel like a lot of kids, when they see somebody who's cool or they see somebody who's different, like they either they tend to pick on that or they try to be like them.
Right.
I feel like if you're unique, something about you, maybe you're very talkative, maybe you're very playful. I understand it, but you can use it in a unique way.
Right.
So be yourself.
Right. Okay.
That's one thing.
2, individuality. So that's what you've been instilling in your kids.
Yeah, my daughter.
Okay.
My daughter. I'll say for one, my daughter. I don't find her being like a follower.
She's a leader.
Yeah,
she's a leader.
I don't find her being a follower, but I just want her to understand you are you, and you're gonna always be you.
Right.
So don't let nobody change that about you.
That's a fact.
You get what I'm saying?
That's a fact. Yeah.
So that's just one.
Okay.
Accountability. A lot of kids tend to lie and tend to try to throw off the truth or bending the truth by sugarcoating it so it just sounds good for you to be like, oh, okay.
Right.
But
okay.
at the end of the day, at some point you're gonna have to make up for that lie. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna lie, my kids, they tend to try to blame each other. You know what I'm saying? So every time I come at them about the room or stuff being left, it's
your
he
fault.
did it.
Oh,
he
your
did
fault.
it. And then, no, I didn't do it. You did it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
teaching them how to take that accountability.
Take
like,
accountability,
tell the truth,
because
who
at the end
did
of the
it.
day, y'all together and y'all gonna always be siblings.
Right,
so the lying and stuff, y'all hurting each other. Y'all don't want to do that. Y'all want to grow together and be able to use that against everybody else, the outsiders.
That's a fact.
You use that type of you use those things on other people.
Right.
Because sometimes, you have to be able to get yourself out of sticky situations. But as you being siblings, you want to help each other out.
Right.
So accountability is another one.
I like that.
And
I
your
like
last
that.
one?
My last one is knowledge, man.
Okay.
Knowledge. I really want my kids to be very knowledgeable. I want to see A's and B's. So I want to say, like, knowledge is something I really like to implement on kids. Learning, learning new things. I don't care if it's wildlife. I don't care if it's about the ocean. I don't care if it's about how grass even becomes grass, where it starts
and
from.
I could right-hand attest to that.
Yeah.
Because by them being my niece and nephews and this being my brother, whenever I call him and he at home with his kids, I always hear him doing something academically with them. Like, it's always some type of math or some type of reading, something. So you are big on giving your kids knowledge and making sure they understand the importance of knowledge and education. That's a fact.
Common sense is common sense is a big thing, because people think that just because you have common sense that makes you, because you can mistake common sense for smart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For someone being smart, but common sense is just common sense. Because you could be street common sense, or you could be book common sense.
Right.
But implementing common sense itself will just make you stand out anywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you know your shoes don't go on like that, it's common sense. So that's.
But you know what I realized? A lot of people that's smart as hell, like book smart, they lack street and common sense, like street knowledge. You ever see somebody they street smart, but they not really so book smart?
Yeah.
Then you find people that's book smart, that's not really so street smart. And I have an aunt like that. She's super book smart, and she's not so well versed in the street smart. And the same with my son. He's smart as hell in school, but when it comes to common little shit, it's like it puzzles his brain. I'm like, bro, it's common. I don't know why it is like that, bro.
Yeah, sometimes
it's like that.
It be like that. I know I don't have any kids, but when that do happen for me, one of the things I do plan on doing or installing in them is knowledge, right? Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power, right?
Right.
And another question I wanted to ask y'all was, like, as a parent, what you want to leave for your kids, right? So when I think of something legendary, or when I think of a legend or anything, right? I think of something that you can leave behind when you're no longer here, right?
Okay.
And I was just talking to
like
my
a
cousin.
Legacy.
A legacy.
Yeah.
Basically,
yeah.
right? That's even a better word, legacy. So my uncle, right? So growing up, it was kind of something similar to what Sap does, right? But in the sense where, so when I go to my uncle's house, what he'll do is he always had a nice house, and my uncle came from Haiti. Came here, he had a nice house, built a nice house, and he did well for himself. Got his master's degree, and every time we would go over there, it'll be fun and games, but he made us work for it. What I mean by that is we had to do the 5 whys, who, what, when, and where. We had to read a book. And before we indulge in anything fun, he made sure we did that work, right? So the thing is, by my uncle doing that, now with my sister having kids, with my nieces and nephews, now she does that same thing. Before they have any fun, they have to read a book, or they have to do something productive to do that, right?
I like that.
So their brain is always going, and they're always learning, and they're always growing, because at the end of the day, he was basically instilling in us knowledge is power. Right? So at first I didn't like it, but now I see, like, dang, his legacy is still being lived by a teaching that he taught us. And now that we're going to continue to install in our kids now. But that's what legacy is.
Legacy.
That's impact.
He taught y'all, and now y'all teaching the younger
and
generation
now
of
it's
y'all
like
family.
that can trickle down to my nieces and nephews' kids.
Doing it to their kids,
and now it just started from one person doing that. That's what
you call a legacy. That's what you call leaving your mark in the family, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially coming from a man, that's powerful, because especially with these little boys, they look at their dad as their first heroes. They want to do everything like their dad. And that's why we really got to watch the way we carry ourselves, because I see my son, and I see when he looks at me, he wants to be just like me. But I really want him to be better than me for real. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really been, trying to watch the way I talk, watch the way I carry myself, pants on my waist, just being a real father figure and a real man, that he can understand what a man looks like and how a man's supposed to act and behave, walk, talk, So that little things like that, all the way back to knowledge, like you said, is what you want to instill in the youth, for them to give it to the next set of youth that's going to come after them.
Me personally, I'll say, remember me as a good father. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, I did my best. You know what I'm saying? He always, like, for instance, you can, like, he was you could count on him. You know what I'm saying? In times when you needed it, even if you didn't need it, you could count on him. Just being a good father, like, you could talk to him and he wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't like always, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes
reasonable. You're very reasonable, not over judgmental. I just want to be, basically, my legacy is to be known as a good father and someone who actually helped them
so they didn't have to work so much as hard as we did. Wow. So basically, as if, for instance, I saw this couple. The wife is a realtor. Okay. Mm-hmm. They have a house. Okay. And there's a house next door to them that they bought for their kids.
Okay.
And you know,
I've seen a couple people do that.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple people
eventually
do that.
the kids will get the name and put their name inside the house and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I felt like that was very smart. You know what I'm saying? Because now that just X'd off one major thing that a lot of us out here have a problem with. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people haven't gotten their cribs at 20, 30 years old. Yeah. You know, it took time. So, you know, being known for being a good father.
Yeah. And I appreciate that and I respect that, and both of y'all boys, because I see the way you guys move as men and as fathers, you know. And man, that's big, man. That's really big. Yep. So, and it made me think, right? So I feel like one of the greatest accomplishments you can do or make as a parent is the way that people, you know, talk about your child.
Oh,
and the reason why I say that is because, you know, a lot of people, like I said, when they speak about my mom, right? The thing is, I feel like the legacy that she left was, you know, how me and my siblings, how we treat others or how we treat people, right? And I'm gonna use myself as an example, right? It's always been a lot of my friends, parents, they will always tell me like, man, or even, you know, I work in customer service, you know, whenever I deal with how respectful I am, they be like, wow, you know, young man, your mom did a great job raising you. You know? So it's like I carry on her legacy by how.
And that warms your heart too. And it warms, because it's like, heart, man, that means a lot. You know, shout out to mama and shout out to me for, you know, taking in what mama gave me, the gems that mama gave me.
The thing is, it's like having parents who actually had that real respect inside the home. You know, don't put your hands on the table when you eat, both hands on the table when you eat, and the small things like when your uncle come in, you got to acknowledge him as uncle. You don't call him by his first name.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Uncle Chris or Uncle this.
I've definitely been slapped for that.
Yeah. So I feel like
that's auntie.
Yeah.
What?
So those are things. Respect is something that you really got to implement, man.
And it starts from young. Yeah. You put them in from young.
Yeah.
You know, so they know.
So that's something. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I like to say that, you know, this was a good topic, bro. I really liked it. We dig deep. You know what I'm saying? That was nice.
And it can always go deeper. Yeah. But to wrap it up, all in all, for the parents out there and for the future parents out there, spare your child nothing short of any accessibility you can when it comes to manners, respect, and knowledge.
Yeah. Right.
Don't cut them short of anything when it comes to that. Any piece of knowledge you have in your brain, especially in the black community, financial literacy, give it to them.
Another thing is, in life, you have things that you can control, and there's some things that's out of your control. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to control the things that's out of your control.
Right.
Only try to control the things that you can control.
That you can control.
Because that'll take a lot of stress off you. So
yes.
That's a gem for you.
That's a gem, man. Reap the gems, baby.
For sure.
Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Y'all rocking with us. And we appreciate that, man. Keep dropping them gems, man. Hit that comment section, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe, baby. Reap the Gems podcast, baby. You know how we doing it. Come on now.